So we're on our way to Osaka. Just did an incredible tour of Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Like crazy, incredible experience. I think it was a once in a lifetime experience.
Absolutely agree.
Like seeing reactors up front, the ocean side, crazy. How was that?
It was amazing. One thing that we will never see again, and probably nobody will ever see again, at least as visitors, is part of the structure of Unit 1 that right now is being like shielded and put a whole structure to actually reach the debris that are still inside. So we got to see that in person. That was amazing. So really impressive.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We just testify something unique in every sense. Fukushima Daiichi, it's a power plant with 6 units in total. We get to know about the history of each units and how they were, what happened to each of those units during the Fukushima Daiichi tsunami and accident. So that was amazing. We saw some differences. We saw the open unit one, which is wow. We also saw the builded structure around the unit 4 and 3. And you can see unit 2, I mean, visually looks intact. However, there were some very big consequences um, during the accident. But yeah, that was just unique. That would be my.
For sure. I think my favorite part of the whole trip was actually just seeing the site, but also seeing like nature really thriving, right? Like cherry blossoms, like some really scenic spots on Fukushima site. You've got the cherry blossoms. You've got apparently at one point there was over 1,000 cherry blossoms on that site, and there's still like I think more than 100 left.
Yeah, they had to cut 700 after the accident, but the ones that they're so incredible that I cannot even imagine 700 of those there. It's a beautiful scene. Yeah.
So we did come in peak cherry blossom season. Okay, so we're really lucky to be coming during the season because on route to the Fukushima site, we're just seeing so many like right now like cherry blossoms in the forests, and it's super scenic right now. Japan is just really great season to visit.
Yeah, I think we can only agree with what you just said. The cherry blossom part is, I mean, mind blowing. Uh, we just, yeah, this is a facility, so nuclear power plant where you expect to see only concrete and tanks, and you have those beautiful, bright and flourish cherry blossom all around, which are really part of the facility. So they're installed in a way that you can see two pipelines and cherry blossom in between. And they just made a pipeline in a way that it doesn't disturb the cherry blossom tree. So the sakura tree. So it's just wow. And yeah, it was flourish. Yeah, flourish. It's flourish now. So that's just wow, mind blown.
May I say that at one point of the tour, we were in the visitor center and we experienced an actual earthquake. Okay. And it was a very tense moment because I think we all started looking at each other like, what was that it? Because it felt like a train was going like downstairs. It really felt like that. So I think it puts into perspective if that was a very mild and tiny earthquake that they are used to, what must have been the reality of what happened, the earthquake before the tsunami that they experienced, right? And of course, it's important to know that right now the facility is absolutely built to withstand this earthquakes. That it actually withstood the earthquake before. It was the tsunami that caused the damage of the diesel generators, and that's why there was the accident of Fukushima Daiichi. So it's an extremely prepared country, we know, but it was very intense to feel it there firsthand. So I think that was also like such a unique experience, right?
I think one thing that one of my favorite experiences was actually going to the Decommissioning Archive Center. Like that was super fun. I think just the visuals and the quality of displays that they have. One of my favorite examples was just showing a graphic of the containment vessel of the reactors that melt down, and just having the material there, and you can see how thick the concrete is. It gives a really good understanding of like, hey, what is the technology that we're dealing with here, right? Also, other simple things like, we see them when we work in the industry, but for the public, kind of like dosimeters and different suits that you wear, right? It's really nice to kind of like have something that you can hold and visually see, and the lighting was just like the whole lighting and like the sound effects, like the tick 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 of like the clock. I was just noticing all these details, and I'm like, wow, they've invested a lot of time, effort, and energy into like crafting that area. What do you guys think of that area?
Sure. There's just two things that I have in mind that I'd like to share as well. Um, First was this tank right beside, in front of the water, in front of the sea. You have a tank which were twists. And when we asked what happened to this tank, they just explained us that the tsunami for power twist the tank. Um, it's just unbelievable. You cannot imagine that. We couldn't imagine that, and we're just bloated by wow, how powerful this tsunami have was, and just to reflect on what we experienced, and of course was absolutely nothing. And second was last night at our hotel, not that far from Fukushima Daiichi, we have met with a random guy at the hotel. He came from the UK, and it was pretty surprised to see some foreigners. So he started talking with us and engaging with us. And he was from a company in the UK which is working actually on the Fukushima Daiichi power plant in the decommissioning part, and especially they are how can I say uh, taking the fuel material, the corium from whatever it is, and take it out. So as Fukushima is in the dismantling phase now, and it was very interesting to have his perspective, to get his perspective, especially that this is something that were explained to us this morning, and we even had the opportunity to see a little rock, a little part of this material that they extracted. And for you to understand, they extracted little tiny rock by little tiny pieces of fuel, the mage fuel. So that was just incredible, and that also added a very special touch to this all experience, I think.
For sure. I think that was like the prime example of serendipity, like just being at the right place at the right time, just bumping into someone randomly and just being like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And that was really funny. One really memorable thing for me on the Fukushima site, alongside that tank that Larissa was talking about, there was the tsunami wall, and I didn't know that the tsunami wall was actually destroyed by the tsunami, because in my mind, I've never thought about like water being able to break concrete, like a huge concrete wall, like a reinforced concrete wall. And so when we saw parts of like the wall that were missing and broken from the tsunami, that like it was just the magnitude of like this tsunami, and like the force that it actually has. It yeah, it was pretty like earth shattering for me. I was like, holy cows, this is insane.
Yeah, it's humbling to see the power of nature, right? Right there before our eyes. But also what I want to highlight from TEPCO is when we first saw the video in the visitor center, how the first message that you read is how these people apologize. They feel sorry about all the strain that has been put on the city, on the citizens, And even though it's a huge natural disaster and it had such such consequences beyond anything that happened there, they are still very responsible, and it's absolutely, I think it's something to admire them for, because they are really owning up to everything. They are explaining the people what they are doing. They are very transparent. They are trying to make an effort for people to understand what is going on. And I think that's key for the understanding of any disaster, not only nuclear, but anything that can happen, right? I think that's very important, and it's the right way to do it.
Absolutely, like accountability. Yeah, that's number one. And even at the on the site, the advanced technology that they've implemented, like filtering out that water to a level in which it's clear. Like we took pictures in a bottle with that water, and it's just like pure. It's like it looks pure, right? Because they've removed all the radioactive components, any discoloration, and then also the ice wall. Like they've created a wall of ice on both sides of the reactor facility, which prevent water from uh, transporting. And they've also sealed off large areas of the land or the reactor site so that water doesn't get contaminate or go into the groundwater, and then reduces the amount of water that's flowing out. So yeah, I think like the company has spent a lot of resources, a lot of time and energy into like coming up with innovative solutions to ensure that the environment and human health is like kept top notch and like kept at the front of mind. So yeah, definitely good good point to bring up.
All the innovative part is amazing. Unfortunately, it was due to a disaster, but that will definitely be a tremendous amount of knowledges which will be kept for any future um, event, or even in prevention for any nuclear safety engineers or workers. That will be wow. I mean, the way that we're going to build a power plant now, uh, because the the fourth unit which were the most impacted, they were very impacted because they were below a certain level. Actually, they could have been more up, but they decided to dig a little bit the floor. So it was about 10 meter above the sea level. However, the two other units, which were at around 30 meter above the sea level, wasn't that impacted, almost not impacted. So there's so much lesson learned that we're going to get and be able to reuse, and to, yeah, the knowledge transfer from this event is a will really have a huge impact, and already have a huge impact worldwide in terms of design, safety, everything. And the second part, also the transparency. Of course, they're very transparent. You mentioned the water treatments. You should know that they have a website where they actually uploaded the water treatment result. They are public, and this is a three party analysis. So it's not only the companies doing this analysis; they're challenged by other parties, and they're they are public, so that everyone can see, everyone can have access and decide it, or claim something, or have an opinion on that. And I think that that's really, really a great approach as well.
That's really like important info. Like that just showcases the transparency of the situation. I think like one thing that I loved that I enjoyed was the moment where you're actually seeing the amount of radioactivity that's there. Okay, like we got into a bus tour. So what was taking place is this is a bus tour. Okay, you go on site. Unfortunately, you're not allowed cameras or footage, but there are people taking pictures of us. So hopefully, I'll incorporate that into the podcast somewhere. And so there's a meter in the bus which is showing you live radioactivity levels, right? And I know Larissa is an RP expert. So what was your thoughts on like the radioactivity that was being displayed?
Okay. First, I think they made a crazy effort in terms of reducing and lowering the doses around the most impacted area, because basically when we were in front of Unit One, literally in front of Unit One, which is open. Okay, get that in mind. We might be able to put some photo from the visit center of that. Um, the higher level the higher exposure level was about 45 microsievert per hour. Uh, and in the rest for the rest of the tour, we were not that far, to be honest, but in a different zone, and the level was about, I don't know, like 1 point something, less than 2 microsievert per hour. So there's a real effort that was made. Even the 45 first is not crazy amount for what happened.
What is that like a 45? Like on a relative scale, like what would that mean?
So the it's a rate. So it's not like a dose. It's not like a, so I cannot tell you. I mean, yeah, that can be.
If you stay there, so at the,
If I stay there for 1 hour,
you will get 45.
I will get 45 microsieverts. Um,
What we can say is maybe so during our whole tour, we had 0.01 microsievert in total, and that is 1/10 of a dental X-ray. So that's the amount of radiation we got in the whole tour, going down from the bus right in front of Unit 1, of Unit 2, of Unit 3, and Unit 4. And so that's a very little amount. And if you take a plane, for sure you will get so much more radiation than this. If you just basically by living, you have so much radiation in the background that you never know. So
yeah, I do agree, and this is a reminder. But there are some places in the world, even not that the exotic places, where you will get, or you are getting way more doses just by living there, mostly from the radon, so natural exposure. So
ventilate your house.
ventilate your house. We never know, and even for other reasons, that's always good. But yeah, so that's not a crazy amount. That's I mean, we were not in danger, not at all. We were in civil clothes. We didn't need to wear any protection, specific protection. We were not in contact with any radioactive material. We were not directly exposed. We just received the overall doses, because of course we had an open core with some radioactive material right in front of us. However, we saw some workers getting out from the facility, from the core, from the, yeah, and of course they were dressed very differently. They had some protection, they had some specific shoes, etc., etc. And yeah, but just to say, uh, TEPCO really made it in like tremendous effort in terms of cleaning the zone and making sure that uh, most of the zone are accessible for civil workers or for normal people. I think they said that 95% of the facility area uh, is accessible, which is enormous. The only part which are not really accessible, I mean, for normal people, would be, of course, inside a car. So, which is a good.
Who wants to go there anyway, right?
No one wants to go inside a car, and that's also the case in a random uh, nuclear power plant. So, that's fine. Yeah.
I like how you brought up that fact of the point that we didn't need any personal protective equipment, right? And that's huge because even when I go to a standard nuclear site, usually I have a hard hat on or safety shoes, and it's because it's an industrial site, right? But what they've done is they've created certain areas which are safe spots which you don't have any hazards, right? And that way you're in your very comfortable clothing. We didn't have to take off any of our, we didn't have to put on any extra additional gloves or any like Tyvek suits or anything like that. And I think there's a lot of comfort, right, when you're just in your regular clothes, um, kind of looking out into the horizons. Um, I think it's a very beautiful site. I think Fukushima is just a stunning area. A lot of people have actually started to come back and are living in that area, right? I think there was around in that city, there's almost like 1,200 people or so that have come back. There's schools that are opening, right? There's communities kind of thriving there, and this work is gonna go on for years and years. So it seems like an interesting place to live. Like honestly, I wouldn't mind living there, right? Like having kids and having that area. If obviously if there's facilities, obviously I don't know too much in detail, but seem like a cool area.
And I was going to add, there in the facilities, there is a little a booklet that they give you about the thoughts of the kids in high school that were evacuated and what would they think about the town like in 10 years or something like that. And it's all full of pictures of sakuras and beautiful messages for the because I just looked around, look at it, and it has beautiful messages from the kids saying, I hope you can see our city is flourishing. I hope you can see our city is beautiful. And these are really like messages full of hope. And I think little by little, people will start coming back. Farmers, new economy, maybe different things, but people will come back because it's a absolutely beautiful place to be around.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And one other thing is, okay, you have a cherry blossom inside the facility, but not everyone will access the facility anyways. However, outside the facility, we're in Japan since few days now. We saw a lot of sakuras, we saw a lot of cherry blossom. It was amazing. However, the best pics are from Fukushima. They have kind of sakuras fields or trees, just trees all along the way. Wow. So if you want great picture of sakura, come to Fukushima. That's my recommendation. That's just amazing. So yeah, and yeah, they were explaining us that they start to rebuild the city and they try to have more people coming. They talked about the farmers as well. They get some support if they want to come back. So I think that's really interesting, and that will be very interesting to see how what happened in the coming years, and most probably that TEPCO will also have a role to play, and the government, depending on the decision made by the Japanese government, what they're going to do with the facilities, whether it's dismantling or keep or try to operate the facilities. They will need people in Fukushima being able to do that. And that will be a lot of work. So that will be also a new economic opportunity for the city, most probably.
Yeah, I think there's seeds of hope here. The nuclear industry in Japan right now, post Fukushima, is in such a unique space, right? Like we're seeing new builds being proposed. So the country originally wanted to phase out nuclear after Fukushima, and so we're having that 360-degree, that 180 degrees. Fact checks. We're having that 180-degree like turn of where the nation is like, oh shoot, we need pragmatic solutions. Climate change, there's costs, electricity costs are up, and so apparently one of the major decision factors for new nuclear in the Fukushima area would be getting that government support, and I think that takes time. It takes time because you have to engage communities, you have to win trust. It's not only the technology, it's not only the fact that there's reactors right now that could operate at Fukushima, but they're not operating. And it's not a technically it's safe to operate. they will provide a lot of electricity to the grid and benefit the prefecture. So yeah, I think there's rays of hope in the horizons. So I think that area does have a lot of hope.
Yeah, I think there is a bright future for Japan. I think it's also about having energy security, right? You don't need to import energy if you're producing your own energy. And in a place such as Japan, it's not so big. You have limited resources, so it's important to secure that. And a good way is clearly nuclear, and they know it. And this is why there has been a drift in the government, I think, towards new builds and extending the life of the existing plants and restarting the ones that they shut down after Fukushima.
Yeah, so I guess like how did we come here? How was this possible? This There's an organization called JAIF, JAIF, Japanese Atomic Industrial Forum, and this was an opportunity at their 58th annual conference where they invited us, our global nuclear advocates, to come and participate at their conference. So they had an annual conference, and we had a booth there. We had a booth. Julieta made some incredible paintings, a cherry blossom painting artwork, as well as a cherry blossom. Larissa is here from Women in Nuclear Global, and they can talk a little bit more about what they did here. I'm I'm here just to share about the impact that my videos have made in terms of the area of resource development and education. And so it was a really fun opportunity to do a fireside chat with Professor Nakase that was here. I'm really appreciative of this opportunity. I think the conference itself was a really good networking opportunity, right? Like meeting the folks that work in the Japanese nuclear industry, meeting the vendors. I really enjoyed that, talking about the different technologies that are out there. But also, I think it was a great opportunity to um, come to the site, right? Like this was a very well organized tour. We had bus scheduled right after the conference. It left on time, and I think Jive is doing some incredible work in terms of providing resources, opportunities, and educating, right? Educating the people of Japan. So gratitude to them.
Thank you to Jai for the invitation first, the opportunity, the tour, which are not done, by the way. But today's was, wow, incredible. Um, and yeah, overall, that's unique. And I really, really believe that that was a smart initiative because, okay, we were there and all those people and Japanese industrial had the opportunity to engage with youth from above. However, abroad. Sorry. However, we also learned a lot, and I think we have a lot to learn from Japan, from their own experience of the nuclear industry, from what they've done, from the way that they're doing business, and the way that they're managing their grid as well. Um, they have a lot of amazing resources. We've met with some amazing professors, which are so keen to receive international students. So please consider Japan as a very, very great opportunity or option, whether it's for your studio work or next step, however it is. So yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, Larissa here is humble enough to forget mentioning she's the president of the Women in Nuclear Young Generation. So I'm going to say that for her.
Thank you.
And so it's an honor to be here. Women in Nuclear Global Young Generation. And and we are also here with Youssef. Youssef is deciding not to be there, but he's the president of SPEN, so the SPEN Young Generation, right? So it's the French Young Nuclear Generation. So we are here with basically nuclear young generation royalty. That's what I would say. And I'm very, very thankful to the Japan Industrial Atomic Forum because it's the first time that somebody refers to me in a letter of invitation as nuclear engineer and art enthusiast, which for me it's really touching. It's really moving because art is one of my passions, and I think through art we can get more feelings towards actually embracing nuclear energy as one of the solutions to climate change. So I'm very happy that I was able to paint live, to do the art live, also to bring a piece of art that I made in Paris to here. That was an incredible experience. I was able to show it to the Minister of Education and Science of Japan, which I cannot even believe right now. Yeah, it's amazing. And now the live painting that I did, it's decorating JIVE offices. So I cannot be more grateful to JIVE for having us, for inviting us, also to let me represent a little bit Nuclear for Climate, which is a young initiative to advocate for nuclear. So I'm very happy. I'm really thankful.
Dude, let's talk about that artwork for a sec because I was blown away by the level of detail and the depth of the painting, right? Like the cherry blossom looks so real. And I love how the technology aspect was integrated, like the fuel bundle. And there's so many like elements where nature and technology were mixed in two. And I think it was really impactful just seeing you build, paint that from scratch. So like tell us a little bit about the creative concepts that went into that painting.
Yeah, so gladly. I started having this idea about making, well, of course, a cherry blossom because we are in cherry blossom season and also we are in Japan. So it looked like it was fitting. But not only that, but cherry blossoms, we have actually registers for so many years that the Japanese had been taking on the blossoming of these flowers throughout the years. And each year, it's coming shorter and shorter. So it means they are blooming earlier and earlier. And this is because of climate change. So one thing that I thought was about integrating this kind of climate change aspect to it. And so I decided to do this cherry blossom tree. And then because I'm a nuclear engineer, I like to add the engineering aspect for it. So of course you would add here and there some nuclear elements together in the cherry blossom to make it a nuclear spring, what I call a nuclear spring, because I think there is a nuclear renaissance era right now that we are living, and this tree represents that, the represents the spring and the elements that we as people need to build to make it happen, right? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think, and I really love the name that you give it, like nuclear spring. I really love everything that it represents. It's not only like spring, of course. It's about renaissance. It's about a new season. It's about the renewal and the flourish, like the yeah, actually. So I really really like that, and I think it's really fit with our current situation, the global situation of the nuclear industry. And yeah, I don't know if, yeah, you might have here and there a picture of the painting of Julieta, but it's wonderful, it's colorful, it's really vibrant, and I am sure you'll like it. So yeah.
I love the so there was a painting, but then there was the tree itself, right? So Julieta made a tree, okay? And it was so well done because it's not only a tree which looks awesome, but it has a functionality to it, okay? Like there's a lever in the tree that you hold and push, and then the cherry blossoms bloom. And I was just like, what? Like, yeah, and inside the cherry blossoms, you'll find things that are like, you'll find a fuel bundle, which was my favorite, obviously, can do. Like, how do you come up with that concept? Like, I'm still blown.
Well, I always like to put in my art whenever I can. I will always like to mix engineering and art. And for me, this opening, this handle thing is the power the human needs to put to make this nuclear spring happen. So that was my concept. My concept was, okay, I need to put something of myself in this piece of art to make it work, to make it happen, to make it bloom. And that was the inspiration for it. And another challenge was to bring it from Paris because it's a big tree. It's a big tree. So what I had to do actually is try to find a way that I can dismantle it and put it back together. So I think I created the first nuclear modular tree. Not to brag, but I don't think anybody wants to do that before.
And I think you got stopped at customs for that, right? Tell us about that.
They stopped me customs for that. I had to open my suitcase first time I'm coming to Japan and explain this big box that had. Luckily, I put a little sign saying, "This is a nuclear tree." Like not a nuclear. I didn't put the word nuclear, but this is a tree, an art tree. Please, like, treat it with love because it's super fragile and it's very light, so I can transport it. And so but the Japanese policeman was very interested in it. I was like, "Oh, art! You do art?" And I'm like, "Yes." So it was super fun to bring. And now it's safely stored, so it worked.
Nice. So what's your plans with that tree? Are you planning on showcasing it somewhere else?
I really hope I can showcase it where I work in Wano, Paris Center. We will see because it will not be the first time that I do kind of an art exhibition, mini art exhibition there. And it's always super interesting to see the reaction of engineers and people like super um, kind of working in a very hard environment reacting to art. I love this reaction to art that they have. Sometimes they connect with something that it makes them feel like children again, because it's, oh, I used to love art. I used to love to draw or to play an instrument. Then they start opening and telling you about their passions and what they do with it, etc. And it's like, why did you stop? Like, come on, go ahead. Like, if you really enjoy it, go ahead and do more art. So I'm really looking forward to see how it is that look. So I'm happy to bring it home.
So like what were some of the reactions that you got from students? Because there was around like 50 or 70 students at this conference and they seemed really interested. Like I saw them coming up to you and they were like, "Hey, like what's going on here?" And so like how was that like?
Yeah, yeah. I always love the reactions. So reactions in Japan sound a little bit like this. Oh, and it's like, yeah, I swear, it's like you see the real awe in their faces, and it's also nice for them to know that even. I think that the biggest surprise is that it comes is when I tell them I'm a nuclear engineer, because they say, "Oh, okay, you're an artist, so you do this art thing." But no, no, I'm a nuclear engineer as well. Like, you can do both, and for me, that's the message. You can do both, and it's very important not to lose that part of yourself because it's what makes you unique as well. And in my case is how I express this willing to share the nuclear energy as a clean energy, and as a way.
I think one thing that I wanted to talk about was the fuel bundle. Okay, so I brought a fuel bundle, a mock fuel bundle, guys. Okay, it's an empty fuel bundle from Canada, so it goes inside a CANDU reactor. And luckily I didn't get stopped at customs, which was awesome. Okay, but it was really fun, like showcasing that fun bundle to the Minister of Education and Science, because I saw her reaction and she was just like, "What? How do you get this to customs?" And I'm like, "Well, it's empty, but I just did it, right?" And yeah, I think like just having something that's physical, what people can hold on to, especially at a nuclear conference that is sometimes very technical. People want to see things. It's nice to kind of have that on hand. So it was nice to just walk around with it and see even international colleagues from Korea, right? They were like, "Oh wow," they noticed the bundle immediately. They're like, "What? Are you from Canada?" And I'm like, "Yeah, from Canada, man. Like, check this out." And then so it's a fun way to make connections, I would say.
Yeah. And not only that, but also to bring more curiosity from the students, right? We know that Japan will have a great challenge for the human resources that they will need for the nuclear industry to come back again. Because after Fukushima, of course, there was probably a dip or just a diminishing in the amount of workers that are willing to work in this area, or maybe they left because there was of course, a decline in the industry. But right now they need them, so it's important to attract also the good human resources, the students, etc., to this world, to this career path, and show them that it can be fun, that it can be promising, that it can be enriching. So this is a real important thing.
My memorable memory would be more about people that I've met. Um, I've met with especially Charlotte. Kudos to Charlotte if she see us. She's a young she's a young nuclear engineer, I may say. She's still in she's doing her study right now. She's from France, and we've just clicked. It was just as simple as that. And Usama had the opportunity to meet with her as well. Um, and by the way, we were introduced through Women in Nuclear Japan, because they met with her and they say, "Oh, there's another French girl here. You have to meet her." And it happened that she want to have a very similar path as mine. She want to work in my organization and do nuclear, but most probably radiation protection, because it fits more with her values. And I'm like, wow, that's so, like, I need to go all the way to Japan to to meet her, which is crazy. So that's mostly about, oh, I've met some people, you've made an impact. So I was able to talk about the organization and some element that might help her to develop her own career path. So I'm very, very glad that I've met her, that I've met also other people. But I think that will definitely be my top one.
There's one aspect of like being a student and then finding a mentor like yourself, which is just like can change the trajectory of your career, right? And then there's the element of uh, of you actually having having that as one of your memorable experiences, right? Because at the end of the day, when you get some experience in the industry, you want to help out, right? Like there's a lot of like intrinsic reward, or like there's like an intrinsic reward when you feel like you've connected with the right person, and you're giving back, right,
Yeah.
to society. So that's awesome.
There's definitely a thing, I think, especially in our industry, and I think we are all doing that in a sense. But we have a kind of responsibility, especially us who are not students anymore. We're working, but we're visible as well, and we have a responsibility in terms of giving the best of ourselves first when we can, but also giving back, because a lot of people give us a lot, and we have, or actually I would feel that, but I'm pretty sure you too have this duty to try to give back in any way possible to the brighter community. Yeah, and for the industry, I think it's very important that we communicate as much as we can. We're educating as much as we can. We are replying, or we are addressing people's fear and concern about nuclear. And when I say that I'm a nuclear engineer, and I'm pretty sure you have the same thing, we always get like some special, specific reaction. I mean, we're not like a random engineer working, I don't know, for automobile or I don't know, mechanics. I don't know. That's really specific. And being a nuclear engineer, you get some very strange reactions sometimes, but I think we're always taking that with some step back and taking the time to address those and to talk with the people and explain them with the knowledge, the level of knowledge that we have. And also, we talked about it earlier, but transparency is important. When I don't know, I don't know. And this is not because I'm a nuclear engineer that I know everything. I know what I'm doing, which is radiation protection, but don't ask me anything about neutronic or, I don't know, another discipline. That's not my field. And if you ask me, I will just tell you I'm not competent, and I'll address you to someone else who might be able to answer your question. As long as you do that, and you do that like sincerely, I think we don't have any problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that builds a lot of authenticity, and right, or people know that you're not faking it till you make it. Like you're just being honest, right?
we cannot fake it in this field. We cannot like fake. That's not possible. That's not possible.
So yeah, like one of the unique experiences I had was doing a fireside chat with a professor. His name is Dr. Masa, um, at Tokyo Science, which is a university in Tokyo. And Dr. Masa, he has such a wealth of experiences in different domains. Like him and his students are doing research in nuclear fusion. They're doing research in naval propulsion using nuclear, in radioisotopes, and I got a chance to actually visit his lab day before, and that was a really fun experience because I had a chance to see where there were certain certain research reactors that once operated there. There was a Cobalt 60 lab, right, where uh, they're doing a lot of interesting work. They have a particle accelerator, right, and I'm like just mind blown. Um, so yeah, the fireside chat was really interesting because it's almost like um, us sharing our own unique experiences, me from the industry and him from the research and academia perspective, and it's a message to students where in a more of a casual format, where we share our experiences but also um, help students understand that, hey, get out of your comfort zone, right? A lot of students are in the mindset where they have a very linear mindset, like, hey, I want to achieve this role and I'm just going to focus all my time and energy on studies. Whereas when you're a student, this is the time to be creative, this is the time to expand your horizons, expand your mindset, right? And so Dr. Masa, he's very multifaceted individual, right? He has so many different um, interests, and that, he talks about having multiple interests and then kind of focusing on one afterward, right? Developing that detail or that focus later on in life. And yeah, I think like the message was like, get out of your comfort zone, go talk to people at this conference. Don't just talk to your friends. And also be a risk taker, right? In terms of your career, in terms of your initiatives, in terms of what you're doing. Anything like, for me, I shared the example of how I started making YouTube videos like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago during COVID. And that hobby led to something so much greater, right? Um, so yeah, I think it was a really, really fun opportunity. Okay, well, I think this was a good chat. I really enjoyed hearing from you guys and your experiences in the industry. So you could follow Julieta Romero on Instagram, as well as I'll have her social media in the description, as well as Larissa as well. I'll have her information so you can always connect with her, as well as her organizations that she's affiliated with. Well, thanks again for this conversation, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.